Previously on the Heartbeat of God.
The goal of discipleship is that you are going to be everything God wants you to be, and that will not possible without you being under. You have to be under. So when you are under, that's when the training will be done. You can't be boss of yourself. When you are boss of yourself, you can't be trained. Take someone that is higher than you to be able to do what, sir? To train you. God does not train you, the devil will train you. I've told you that a disciple surrenders their will to God's will. Very, very important. Surrender their wills to God's will. On marriage, you submit your will. On career, the Lord can come and interrupt you. The will of God is not measured by the success you have there. It's measured by, I am in the will of God, I know. Disciple continues in the world. It is one thing to become a disciple. It is quite another thing to continue as a disciple right to the end. Will I get to heaven? Will I not get to heaven? It's not about getting to heaven or not getting to heaven matter. It's about fulfilling God's plan. The most terrible man is not a sinner that goes to hell. It's the believer that does not fulfill God's mandate. Because God has a mandate that He wants you to fulfill. And so you may get to heaven. And that's why we say, many will cry. Because when the Lord opens your eyes to what you ought to have done, what you should have become, what things you should have done on earth for the glory of His name, and you don't do it, you will not know when you will cry. You are still happy here. They are still begging you to serve God. You are happy. You have money. Because what discipleship will do for you, you will not only grow by discipleship, you will render faithful service. Because that faithful service will be as a result of your growth. Then nobody is forcing you. Nobody is compelling you. You are just doing it. So it's one thing to be a disciple. It's another thing to continue as a disciple. I'm saying after 20 years, if we meet you, are you still going to remain the same Brom Tosin we used to know? Will you have reduced, or we used to be on fire? Discipleship is raising people that are thick, that are strong. The pastor is not afraid to say you are wrong when you are wrong. And that's why I cannot pastor you if I cannot look at your face and say you are what? You are wrong. If you start as a disciple, you must continue as a disciple. Or else, there is no reason for you to have started. So if you start to love the Lord in a supreme way, you must continue to love Him in a supreme way. All your initial labors were in vain. When you stop moving ahead, you start moving backward. That is, you backslide. So this applies to all areas of discipleship. So a disciple gives the word of God first place in his life. That is, the word of God has the final authority in all situation. So which means a disciple rejoices in the word of the Lord. As you continue in the word, it regulates your life. It regulates your emotion. It regulates your decision. It regulates your action. And most importantly, you will see the result of the word. And that was why I was telling you that when the word of God comes into your life, it start works immediately. It may take time to see the result, but immediately you receive the word start working. So to continue in the word presupposes that one has already started in the word. So we are saved by the word. We are born of incorruptible seed, the word of the Lord. So you must start loving the word. You must start studying the word. You must start memorizing the word. And above all, start obeying the word. So when a person has started this process, he must continue. So to continue in the word implies that the person involved is not at the place where he started. You don't need to remain at that point where you started. You need to make movement. You need to move forward. Do you love to hear it preached and taught more now that you did in the past? Do you love to read the word of God? Do you love to read it more at the moment than you did in the past? Are you actually reading it more now than you did in the past? What is the difference? Does the Lord speak to you through His word? Do you hear Him speak to you from His word more at the moment than in the past? Do you read the word with a desire to hear His voice and obey it? Or you are reading the word with the desire to preach alone. Not obedience as it demanded of you through his word of recent. There are commands in the word which you are obeying now, but which you did not obey in the past. Do you tremble at the thought that if you disobey the Lord, he may stop speaking to you? Do you listen to his voice with thanksgiving in your heart? Has he ever sent you to some disciple with a message? Did you go?
And now, let's welcome our senior pastor, Pastor Olodeyemi, as he blesses us with the word of God.